Hello and welcome to the Minds Unlimited Media channel. My name is Dr. J. Duncan.
And this is just Z, and we are giving you the Minds Unlimited podcast recap.
So on this week's episode of the podcast, we covered the topic of being your own locksmith.
Yeah, and it comes differently because we've been talking about keys, we've been talking about doors, and we're kind of close to halfway through the season. Mm-hmm. And so, in Minds Unlimited fashion, we got to give y'all a break, okay? Break in action, because being your own locksmith, sometimes all the keys don't work. Sometimes all the doors you come across look way bigger than what you feel like you are equipped with. So you gotta be your own locksmith.
Absolutely. And at this juncture, if you will, a lot of the keys that we have shown you are things that, that one would already assume. The key to success is doing, right? So a lot of these keys come standard with doors. Now, if we really look at life, a lot of the roadblocks do not hit you into standard place, right?
Yeah.
They don't just come and say, hey, in order to bridge the gap of your family's finances or whatever it may be, here's a standard formula that should work for everybody. That is not usually the case. And for this episode, we really highlighted how much you have to invest in self as one of your keys, almost equal to, or if not more important than the keys that you were taught to use.
Absolutely. Because you naturally gain keys throughout your journey to your purpose. So we talked about the keys to failure, and we talked about the keys to believing, and you gain these things as you go along in life. And so your first instinct, if you come to a lock, is to what? Try the keys that you already have in your arsenal. You're like, hey, if I have something that already works, then great, right? But when all of those things fail, it's when you check them twice just to make sure they're not working. It wasn't how you moved it around in the lock. They're really not working for sure. Then we go to the next effort, which is finding a locksmith, or in our case, being your own.
Absolutely. You see, there are certain circumstances in life that you don't see coming. And when you have to become your own locksmith, three things happen. And we talked about it in the podcast. I invite you to check out the episode. That episode was very fun, by the way.
It was fun.
But there are three things that happen. Like Jesse mentioned, when you get to the door, step number one, use the keys that you have. And 9 times out of 10, you're going to look down, oh, wait a minute, this ain't working. You're probably going to stick that same key in that lock a couple of times, jiggle it around and make sure that this isn't you. Then I got to call somebody. Whether that's somebody that has a spare key.
Okay.
Or somebody that can help me, unlock this door. But here's the issue. Many of the times, or most of the time that you get to these doors and you have a situation that comes up, it didn't announce itself. It just came and said, problem. Now what? It's inconvenient for you.
Uncomfortable.
Absolutely.
For you.
And at that point, life is looking at you and it's like, now what are you going to do? You can call people, but if they are not available for you, now what? Right?
And it's so interesting that the first thing we tend to do is to look outward, to call somebody, to contact somebody. There has to be somebody, Google somebody. But that happens in life too, with situations. We come up to a door or something that we can't seem to break through, whether that's emotionally, physically, mentally, situations, relationships, whatever. And we Google our symptoms. We look outwardly. We call somebody and be like, hey, how do you work through this? Or hey, and that's fine to use your resources. But it's so interesting, and we talked about this before, that we don't initially go to self. Hey, what do I have inside of me to get me through this? What do I have that could potentially unlock this door? What do I potentially need to learn or rack my brain for? Those kind of things. What can I count on me for? Because even if you get the key that you need for the door, the reason people call a locksmith is because they are supposed to be the total solution. So even if you get the key and you're not prepared or equipped to use it, then what good is it?
What good are you at that moment?
Okay.
Whew, so this is some. I think this is, you know, how we can give some topics and people say, oh, I can take that gently. They encourage me to change. This one, life doesn't give you participation points for showing up at a door. On the podcast, Just Z had mentioned that sometimes people are holding the door shut. They're telling you, you're not even supposed to know how to read. What are you doing trying to get in this door of access? So sometimes you have to be bowdy enough to know that not only am I about to get through this door, I have to have the drive to take out anyone else
that's on the other side. Whatever is coming from the other side, right? And so that's the urgency that some people need in order to break through that door. It's not until they see the smoke coming out from the other side that they're like, oh shoot, I need to hurry up and figure it out, versus, you know, if it's a nice day outside, everything's going your way, you got some nice food, you'll sit outside, sit in your car, wait outside the door, see if somebody randomly drives by with the key. Who knows? You know what I mean? Like, when things are peachy and perfect and ideal, then a lot of people are less likely to take it upon themselves to become their locksmith in that situation. They are calling somebody, waiting, hoping, you know. Some people need that quote-unquote fire to be lit.
And once you become the locksmith, there's no going back. You don't need to call people for keys that you should have the responsibility to know how to use. And I don't want to hurt people's feelings, but the proof is in the pudding. If you have a key and you don't know how to use it, you're the same value as the person that never had the key. So that participant, just because you showed up and you said, "Oh, my family had, 1, 2, and 3. They put me in good schools. They put 1, 2, 3." But you lack desire. You lack a mission. You lack purpose. Your worth is at the same value as the person that didn't have it. You don't even know how to use it.
Ooh.
And that hurts. It hurts. But sometimes it is those tough situations to where we look up the number of locksmith. I need a locksmith. I need a locksmith. Ooh, they're gonna charge how much to come out? All right, how do you pick a lock again? Let me Google this. When you become that person, you have enough of having enough, then the real work begins. And then you will see the worth of the journey. Before that, you're just a participant.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want to hurt people's feelings, but...
No, I mean, that completely makes sense. And locksmiths are usually, like you said, that last-ditch effort. They're usually not the first person you call. But you're also not the first person you call either. So it's just like the example you gave, like the people that I've seen this all the time. The people that have their whole school paid for are the ones that are cheating. Like, what? Like, you don't even have to worry about paying for this, and you don't even want to do the work. Like, what's going on? And so it really sheds light on the fact that it takes a little bit of, not necessarily struggle, but it takes a little bit of getting locked out of something that you know you should have access to. You've been there before. Like, some things in life, like, some people face adversity more than others. So they're like, oh, whatever. I've seen this before. I've been here before. I can get through this before. But it's not until you used all the keys that you have, all the keys that you've experienced over time, and then all of a sudden you hit this roadblock when you know you should be on the other side of the door by now. And you're like, what's going on? That is when the real locksmith comes out. Because
Absolutely.
You use things that people might see as ordinary things as your tools. You have to really search for, what you're doing. And sometimes you can't regard the lock. You might have to have no regard for the lock, for the door, because you need on the other side that bad.
Absolutely. You see, I think that this episode came at a timely fashion because once you understand your role, like we said, those other keys, you didn't have to understand who you are to open the door if you already had the key. If I gave you keys to just use this, you could be the owner, you could be just a subleaser, you could be whoever. As long as you got that key, you have access. But once I give you a box full of keys and you're like, well, which one works? I'm like, I don't know. You got to figure that out. You become the plug, if you will. You become that. So every key I'm imagining after this episode, if you understand who you are, understand your value, these keys are going to hit a little different. They're not going to be just access. It's more than access. It's desire.
Oh, yeah.
You know? So.
And we've been talking a lot about being on the outside of a door, but don't forget, you can be on the inside and require a locksmith. You can lock yourself in. Now, this takes a little more imagination because physically it's kind of difficult to lock yourself into something unless it's like a safe. Or
unless you didn't put yourself there in the beginning. Someone else boxed you in. Indeed.
That's
Indeed.
deep.
Indeed.
So you think you just closing the door and all of a sudden...
Yep. So they tricked you. Oh, you don't worry about, stressing yourself out too much. I don't want you to overwhelm your scientific brain. You're cute. You're not supposed to be this smart. They box you in, right? They look at you and they judge you based off of your parents. You should be over here. Because if you came in their box, they're intimidated.
Oh, yeah. I don't know how many times I got, oh, so your major's dance? Or, because I danced in college, so, oh, is your major dance as well? No, it's engineering. Wow. Or, at the time, I was working retail, going through school. Oh, so this is your full-time job? No, I'm in school. Oh, you want to do something with fashion? No, I'm in engineering. Like, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And so, without knowing, I did become boxed into this space, and I needed to have the correct keys. Because little did I know, like we talked about before, people were literally on the other side of the door pushing it closed, like, she can't get out, don't let her get out, we need to, another shift, like, she's knocking on the door, she hears us out here, like, she knows that she's supposed to be on the other side of this door, she knows she's not supposed to be enclosed in this space, like, we can't let that happen, right? Because everyone is a monster to those that they're unknown to. Everyone that if they see your potential and you don't see it, oh, you're a threat. And so that's something that we don't even think about, but we have to really try to break down those barriers. At that point, you're not even a locksmith, you are a warrior. But
see, I get excited when she talks about things. What y'all don't know is she's very prophetic, if you will, in her speaking.
What?
Here's the deal, because the next portion of this season is showing you what are the different keys, and some of those keys you didn't know were keys. If you are locked in and they're trying to keep you in a box and you need to get out, a hammer became a key to any glass door.
Your mind became a key. Ooh.
It's not just this is what we were taught. And that's cool as long as it allows you access. But when you are denied access and you need to become your own locksmith, now we have to teach you how to use life. We need to teach you how to use different things to create new keys. For somebody, a key is going to be your mind. For someone else, the key is going to be you running. For someone else, it may be how you speak. Your keys are more complex than just the lock that's on the door. And based off of what she said, there's a lot of episodes coming out of just what she said.
You can literally speak a door open without even having to use a key or find a key. If you
see what I'm saying?
Okay, I would quit.
No, you're good. Y'all see what I'm saying.
But seriously though, like, you imagine, oh my God, imagine being locked out, especially in a space that you know you should have access to, even if you don't. Imagine being locked out and you don't have a key, you don't see a key, there's not a key in sight, but you sit there silently trying to figure it out. You sit on the ground, you're thinking through it, you're thinking so hard through all of the possibilities, and all you had to do was say hello. All of a sudden the door opened. We heard you out here, is there something you need? You know what I'm saying? Oh, we heard you out here, we've been expecting you. Oh, come on in,
Because you were following what they told you. But understand, some people can't go where you're meant to go because it's not their journey.
Okay.
So some things are best just to prepare you. Like, yeah, if I love you, I'm going to give you all the keys I have in my little box. I don't know if they work. But here you go, next generation. Do something with it. Please don't stop there. So I want you guys to pay attention to what she had drawn out, because from here on out, the keys are not just your traditional turn and lock keys. With you being the locksmith, now we're going to change some things into your keys.
Absolutely. Your strengths, your not weaknesses, but the things that you can improve
Your
upon,
opportunities.
your opportunities, all of that can become your keys as part of your arsenal.
Absolutely.
And then what happens? You become your own locksmith, and people see, oh dang, they can bust through any door, any lock. Well, people start calling you. That's how you get a brand, a business, speaking engagements, mentorships, mentoring, money. Okay, that's how you get all of those. Inspiration, following, all those things.
Absolutely.
I'm quit. I'm done. I ain't saying nothing else. The whole rest.
This is just passion, yo. This is passion because this is what we wanted to get to. Some people have heard the episodes and they're like, "Oh, well, we're just talking about keys," and we had to keep it hush hush because we want you to go through the journey. But it's more than just what was shown to you. We're changing perspectives, right? And in that is how we're going to grow. And I think that we're just excited to get to this part where it's like, all right, we got the foundation out the way. Cool. Now we understand what trees are. Now let's make tables. We're going to create everything. But we're going to use these elements to do it. All right. So with that said, this is more of an invitation call to action. If you have keys that were not mentioned before, if you're like, you know what, I have used this as my key, share it below. If not just for us, but for other people to see it that may have a similar situation and realize that they have that same key. So make a comment below just for the future generation for other people to see. But also, Jesse is going to tell you how to get in contact with us or to hear other episodes of the podcast and so on and so forth. Oh my gosh, she ain't speaking anymore. Here we go.
No, okay. I tried not to say nothing, but here we go. So, if you want to contact us on Instagram, ours, check them out. I will, of course, put them below. Also, check out Mind State Apparel if you like what you hear and you want to wear some of this perspective and put perspective in what you wear. Check out Mind State Apparel. It's on the Minds Unlimited website under merch. And then just make sure you look for our individual projects that we have going on as well. We love to hear from you guys, and any input is awesome input. So
that's what's up. And as always, the smallest change in perspective
can open the door to a life.
Peace.
He got a haircut. You see his chin?
What?
You can see his chin. Chin skin. I see his chin skin. Soft chin skin. Like chocolate. Oh.